So now it's time to put the genie into the bottle. So I'll just put on the power supply. I've got the fan, the centrifugal fan in there, and you'll hear that blowing. You'll also see it turn red in here. Not that it's hot, I've got a red LED strip in there. So here we go. LED strips going, nothing much has changed on the LCD. The button, bottom left hand side, is the home. If it homes properly, it will slam up and go bang bang bang, and they will then rest back. So we'll do that, click home, here we go. This is where your heart's pounding, and for the first time you're actually going to get the printer to move. 3, 2, 1, no problem. Now, before I had problems, but yeah. So now it's gone up and it's back the way a little bit. All the red LEDs are still on, so that's fine. That big test is done. And if you do now the M119 again, all come up triggered. So you've passed the big test. If you've got any problems at this stage, just go and check all your connections and all that. With homed, you can do either this switch here, or you can do a G28. So where we typed in M119, you can type in G28. But it's already homed and there's power going, so you can't, doesn't make sense to pull the motors down. So that's done. It sent the command to move to there. Right, but then did it tell it, yes, we are back on 000. So the next step is to do a M114, which is just to verify the current position, and it's X, Y, Z, X0, Y0, but it's got Z as 235, which is a distance, here's 0, so Z moves up, so Z is 10, 20, 30, 40, 100, 120, and it's 235, which is already set in the config software, so that's why you need to measure and change it later. So that's why you need Notepad++. It also says to do a observation, it has a count number, and it says that is the linear position on the carriage, 42514, and that's got 42552. And there's an error, if you get 000, it's lost communication. So you've passed page 102, GO3, you verify it. Then you need to verify your extruder motor. But remember how I said about if you have a 0 or a 0 on your LCD, means it's not connected. Well, it also causes an error, because if your wire is broken, you don't want to turn on the heater and have a runaway. So the software checks, is it above 0? Unless you've got a very cold room, it will say, hey, there's a problem here, you're not connected and it won't run. So to get your extruder motor working, you need to send a code to tell the software, look, it's okay if it's 0. If it's below the heating temperature, we're just going to do a test at the moment. So that code is M302. So what you then do there, just do M302, send it, and it'll say sending down here. What you have to do is over here, it is also now showing you the temperature of the bed and the hot end, and also under text it's also telling you that as well. We'll show you where it's set to and what it's up to. But here we have the little extrude, reverse and the setting screen. It tells you to set up 5mm. Just on that, in the code, define extrude min temp 170 will prevent extruder motor from any motions when nozzle temperature is below 170 degrees. So it's 165 degrees, you won't get any extrusion. So that's a safety check, and so even if your room was 160 degrees, you have to tell it the M302. So you then need to extrude 5mm. Just here you say set 5mm and the speed you want to extrude at, that's the speed the motor runs at. I won't switch the motor around, you just look at the little gears. So you hit extrude, I'll just listen to it, and you watch whether if it's going clockwise or anti-clockwise. So it needs to be going in the direction to push the filament up through the tube, and then you just do a reverse and it will tell you, and we'll do extrude. Can you hear it? And I've looked at it before and it's working fine. So it's telling you what it's extruding, so it's passed that test. So we know the stepper motors now, working in the right direction that way. We also know the extruder motor's working the right way along the way. If it's going backwards, you just need to check to see if you've got wiring mucked up, you put the plug in back to front, that sort of thing. This is the next dangerous setup, the next test. The motors was more for your heart, you know, if it's bashing, but this is whether you might burn your house down. Now that's got your attention. You need to do a hotbed and a hot end test. So on here is your heat, and it tells you what settings to set it to first. So you click on your PLA, your lowest setting, hit that, let it run for 15 minutes. Don't go and have a cup of coffee. Don't go on a holiday overseas, because if there's a problem, you could catch fire and burn your house down. I had a problem with the MOSFET. It overheated and it joined together and it overrun. And I'm watching it and saying, okay, when's it going to come back in? When was it going to come back in? And it just got up and up and up. So I then switched off the main power and put up. And that's why I've got the LCD up the top that's measuring the electronics, so in case there's any heat, but they only got up to about 38 degrees. And so I went in and had a look, pulled the cover off, and the MOSFET was blue, as this photo shows. So I then had to take the board out. I then done the test and it went up 15 minutes for the next step up, ABS and all that. So I do those tests, sit there and watch the little graphs go up and down. Don't get bored, because it's better being bored than excited when your house is burning down. So do that, and when that's done, we'll come back to the next stage.